And we are live here on Scratch Comics and Verity Comics. And with me this evening is the one and only Mr. Jimmy Broxton. And we are joined by our Just for Tonight host, the one and only Samii Jinx. Hey,
Hello.
Samii.
Thank you for having me. Very excited.
Very.
Me too. It feels very strange, like handing over the reins to somebody else. But,
get on with it.
But that's totally cool. I'm sure you'll do a much better job than I ever could.
Who knows what will happen?
So I'm really looking forward to telling you all about what you'll be doing with us, because obviously you are not only the host of this show, you are also a living, breathing comic character yourself now in the fully loaded comic book that created by Mr. Jimmy Broxton. You
can blame me
for all of this, for everything that's about to happen.
For everything.
All Jimmy's fault. I'm just sitting back now and saying, that's it. I'm just here to spectate.
We'll see. We'll see what I can get you in on. So we are also live on my Twitch. So hello, Twitchers. I have the chat up ready. So if anyone does have any questions or anything they want to know a little bit more about, I can see that because the chat room is open. So hopefully some people will pop up with some things they want to talk about as well. But we are here, I guess, tonight to talk about a very exciting project that I have, for some reason, been invited to be a part of, which is incredibly exciting. One of my favorite things ever is helping people bring their passion projects to life. So I'm very, very honored to be part of this whole new world, which is, of course, adult human female. I think I've got that the right way around.
You have?
Yep.
So that's the newest venture for you guys. Obviously, you've both been involved quite heavily with the comic book world for a long time. Me and Shane obviously met through ICE, which was huge and very exciting to be part of. But I kind of wanted to talk a little bit to begin with about specifically the adult human female project, because I posted about it, obviously, very excited to see the artwork and everything that came from it. But I had a few comments about the name saying that, like, you're reclaiming the name. So I wanted to ask why you picked that name and what it means to you.
Jimmy, I think that's one for you, mate.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I'm aware that the name now, wouldn't have been a few years ago, is controversial in certain circles, but it literally just describes an adult human female. It's not politically loaded. It doesn't take sides. It is simply a statement of biological fact. And the simple reasoning is that the characters in the comic, and by extrapolation in the calendar, are adult human females. Some of them are also involved in what you might tentatively call the adult entertainment industry. So there's the logic for the title. Shane knew it would be a little bit contentious, that some people would immediately take offense, and some people immediately have taken offense.
I think it's hard to find some people won't take offense to be honest.
That's true.
Some people, it seems to be their job to take offense to everything. It wasn't deliberately designed to sort of ruffle those feathers, although we knew it would, but it was a genuine attempt to reclaim that phrase from the opposing factions and give it, take it back to its original meaning in a creative sense. Whether we will or have succeeded in that is for other people to decide, of course. I think so far the reaction is mixed, shall I say that? Some people are on board, some people most definitely aren't. So that was the reasoning behind it. And yeah, I was being a little bit, deliberately contentious with it, but why not? Because anything that stimulates debate and real conversation is a good thing, in my opinion.
Just to add to that, I think we're definitely reclaiming it from, as James says, the warring factions, as it were, in this, in what some could dub the culture wars, and I think that sometimes people just want to take offense or want to make an argument out of something, but this is about art. This is about creating characters. It's about being creative, and that's all this is, you know. And I think it needs to be reclaimed for that. It needs to be, and taking it away from those who do have these prejudices, you know, against, you know, people of alternative genders, you know. It's because it's nothing to do with that. This project is nothing to do with that at all. And I think it's really important that people can use titles and can use names in creative ways without it being loaded by some sort of political agenda, you know.
For me, it seemed like quite an open term, which is weird because it's three sort of what you would on a blanket look at as three quite blanket statements: an adult, a human, and a female. But really, all three of those things can be interpreted in so many different ways. And I kind of thought that's where the name was leading, really, because obviously a lot of the girls have these like sort of cyber aspects to them. So are they still classed as human? Are they still classed as female? And what really defines an adult if part of you is mechanical? So that's what it kind of looked like to me. It was, here's three statements you can look at and take as black and white, but actually, what does that mean? And does that mean that any of these characters aren't classed as those things anymore? Like, what do you use to determine those three characteristics, really? So I thought it was quite a interesting name. All the comments that I've had have been positive. Anyway, no, all it was like, oh, are you taking that back? Are you taking that phrase back? And I was like, I didn't know I had it in the first place. Anyone calls me an adult, I'm instantly offended.
It's been around for years. It's not weird. Yeah, I mean, but you really hit the nail on the head there, because if obviously the calendar is what it is, it's just a snapshot of certain individuals that are in the comic. So the calendar itself can't tell a story, but obviously the book does. And everything you've just said, Samii, is very much what the comic explores. It's you know, in this imagined future of ours, in this sort of, I guess you'd call it sort of postmodern dystopian future. It's the question isn't what is a woman. It's like, what is a human? You know, because the lines are blurred in this. In fact, the lines are starting to be blurred even now in our time. You know, with the development of AI and all sorts of interesting things that's going on. So, I think in 100 years' time, people will look back and think that it's insane that we had these crazy questions about what is a woman, when the real question is what is actually a human being. The real questions are far more profound than that. You know.
Yeah, in terms of like how we treat them, is it different? I think, you know, you can look at any part of the world and human rights are totally different to everyone. So what does that even mean to be human? What does that translate to? So I'm very excited to see the book and see where it goes, to be honest, and explore that world and those phrases a little bit more. So that's exciting. So can you tell us any more about the project? Obviously you mentioned about the calendar. I've seen that there's a comic book, which is very exciting.
Well, there's also a colouring book as well, which is featuring your good self on the cover.
I know. Samii. Can you believe? Can you believe?
And that's a really cool concept that James come up with, actually.
I think colouring books were around before I was, but
not the concept, but the idea of doing one for this. Yeah,
I do. Actually, I take full credit for inventing colouring books.
Why the hell not? Why the hell not? If you want to see the original comic ever, I've just put the link in the chat for the Kickstarter. So,
thank you. But it's going to be fun, isn't it? The colouring book, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, adult colouring books are a thing now, not in the sort of girly, imagery sense, but colouring books aimed at adults rather than children have become a phenomenon in publishing in recent years. And I just thought it'd be interesting to do that, to tie that in with the whole name, the adult thing, and just because the artwork, if you strip the colour from the images, they're ideal for colouring because there's, there's quite a bit of detail in them and the line work. So it just seemed like a really appropriate and inappropriate thing to do at the same time, which appeals to me, you know. So.
I'm getting that vibe.
Yeah, sorry.
Jimmy's middle name is inappropriate. You know?
Now I know.
But yeah, I mean the images, the line work on them is lovely. You know, I mean the calendars themselves are all going to be fully rendered in color, but I think it's really nice to be able to utilize that black and white line work that you've created, Jimmy, because it's really nice stuff.
Oh, that's very kind of you. But I mean, it'd be so nice as well. I mean, if we put the colouring book out there, and I had this idea that people could sort of do their own thing, and they could send them in to us, and we could sort of display them and maybe give prizes out for the best ones, and just get people involved interactively. You know, it's not just, you know, our vision or my specific artist vision. We can invite people to be included in that. You know,
is that your one-eyed cat, Sammy?
It is, yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I have to hashtag all of my streams with cat in background because he always, no matter what, he always makes an appearance.
He's huge.
How's that Maine Coon? Oh my god.
He is, yeah. It's a whole lot of cat right there.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he's really taken to this Twitch and stuff, which is so cute. So, like, it makes it so much more fun for me and for everyone else. Without a doubt, he will break something while we're live. That's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
It's adorable.
Okay. But yeah, he loves it. So he'll just sit and watch the screens with us now. So very cool.
I'm gonna have to
Here
get
we go.
mine.
The chat's going wild.
Oh, Jimmy's going to go and get his now. Not the same size, but the same amount of eyes.
Let's see. Yes,
She's
please.
not a Maine Coon, but she is adorable. Look on the screen.
What the hell is that?
Oh, it's brilliant. Look, you're watching it.
Who was that? Is that your new friend? Right, come on, you got to move your head a little bit, buddy.
Look, a new friend.
Oh, cats and the internet just go so well.
Oh, they're made for each other, weren't they?
No one wants to listen to us prattle on. They just want to
I know, yeah, honestly, it's a
wrong with that?
lifesaver. A lot of my Twitches recently, because I've only just started, they've all been just chatting, and I get really bored of hearing my own voice, because on Twitch, you can't voice chat with other people, so everyone else is typing, which they are doing. Thank you very much for joining, everyone. So I just hear my voice a lot, so it's really nice when then Odin jumps in. Here he is, and it's someone else here with me.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel like I'm missing out now. I don't have a feline. You know?
Well, you should get one.
Yeah, well, I'm not allowed pets in my house.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame.
Because I do like cats and dogs. I just like animals, you know. Yeah, it's a shame. There was this wild cat that used to come around every now and again.
Shane, that's your own business. Honestly,
yeah.
That's got nothing to do with it.
Yes. There you go. Doesn't come round anymore, unfortunately.
No.
I run out of tuna.
Not keeping the ferals anymore.
No. I used to feed them tuna, and they loved it, you know.
And they still left.
Yeah. But obviously, someone else was giving them better tuna. I don't know.
Better than tuna. Right?
Yeah. Because you only have to feed a cat, don't you, really? And then they're loyal. Yeah.
I don't know.
Everyone says that. Absolutely not.
Oh, well, that's where I was going wrong then, you know.
Just feeding it and ignoring it.
I feel like there needs to be a cat featured in the comic now, Jimmy.
Honestly.
There will be.
Someone's commented on my chat saying the real streamer has arrived. So it doesn't matter what I do. Everyone just wants to see Odin.
The star
That's
of the
your
show.
moneymaker right there. Bless him.
And what a great name! What a great name!
Yeah, well, he was born with the one eye thing, so it suited really. Stop now, please. Yeah. Can you just hear the chaos?
He's wrecking the joint.
Anyway, we were talking about your very exciting project.
Where? I'd almost forgotten.
Why are we here? Just to get the cats to make friends.
So we do have an offer, don't we, Jimmy, for anybody who's watching tonight, and who has, and also anyone who's already pledged. We're putting on a little offer that anybody who pledges during this stream, and we will be watching, will get a free signed print from Jimmy.
Yep.
Wow.
Of Sammy's character.
Of Sammy's character. Yes.
Of my character. Shall I sign it too?
Oh,
yeah, if you like, we can send it to you tonight. Yeah.
I'll sign it because I just existed around the time you needed a character, and that's cool enough for my life.
Yeah, we were going to ask you that. We should have mentioned that before, but yes, signed by both of us. That was the hope. So
yes.
Yeah. How rare is that? You know?
That's pretty rare.
Well,
Free
very
rare.
rare. It could be
Yeah,
really
I love
rare if
seeing
only one person pledges tonight.
Then
They will be the only one.
Yeah,
Get on, guys.
absolutely.
Get pledging. The link's in the chat. Can you guys link on your channels?
We've got
Post
there's a
them.
link on my screen there. I don't know if you can see that because it's quite small on your screen.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to find on Kickstarter. If you go to Kickstarter and just put in adult human female, you will find the campaign.
Yeah.
It's and I can show it on my screen actually, but again, it'll probably be quite.
Sorry.
I don't know if you can see that. It's
yeah.
That's the campaign, and I can skip down it a little bit, and I can show some of the artwork actually. There we go. I don't know if you can see that on your screen.
Can indeed.
Yeah, some really nice, and these are actually images that are going to be in the calendar itself. And there's a biker girl there as well. Very
so we should talk a little bit about what's included with the Kickstarter then. So is the Kickstarter just for the calendar, or is that going to be towards the comic book as well? Or
well, you can also get a special Ashcan edition of the comic book as well on this Kickstarter, and this is exclusive to the Kickstarter. It's not released anywhere else. It's a special Ashcan, and it sort of introduces us to the world of Fully Loaded, the main character, some of the girls from the book as well. So it's a really, and there's the colouring book as well, of course.
There's the colouring book
featuring the one and only Samii Jinx.
For now.
And there's the cover. There's the cover. Oh, forever.
Just in case anyone thought I was going to reproduce, then I would not inflict that on the world. Just me.
We'll keep you going with cybernetic parts. Samii.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Honestly, my biggest fear is dying. So if you do figure out a way to put me in some sort of robot body, put my consciousness in a robot or something, I'm in. I'm down.
We'll sort that for you. At least in the comic, anyway.
Back to Kickstarter so I can live forever.
We'll do that as a separate campaign.
Okay.
The Samii Lives Forever campaign.
Can you imagine getting minus pledges?
The thing is, if we get loads of money for it, we'd have to somehow make you live forever.
Figure it out. Someone's just said you can put my head. Someone's just said you can put my head in a jar like on Futurama.
Ah, yes. I don't know how that works, you know. I mean, how does that even work? I know it's only a cartoon, but come on. A head in a jar, how are they going to survive? So, yeah, you can get the calendar, or you can get the calendar with the comic, which is a really good... And you can get a signed version of that as well. There's also prints that you can get along with the calendar and the comic. And there's lots of different editions. There's an over-the-counter and an under-the-counter version, so that you can get a nude version of the prints as well, if that is your taste.
Fine, by the way,
don't know. They're also a really nice add-on is what I've called the Stream of Consciousness sketch. Jimmy, do you want to tell folks about those?
Yeah, I love the artwork in these.
I'm back now. Sorry, I had to feed the cat.
I was just telling everyone about the Stream of Consciousness sketches that you do, Jimmy.
Yeah, I've been doing these for a while. I literally just get a blank piece of paper, pick up a pen, and start drawing. I have no idea what's going to happen, where they're going to go. There's no underdrawing or no planning to them. They just appear. It's almost like somebody else has drawn them. They're in quite a different style to the way I normally excuse me, the way I normally just run up 3 flights of stairs. I do apologize. Not as fit as I should be. So they're sort of unique. They are what they are. Some work, some don't, but I love doing them. You know, I do hundreds of these things.
Well, that's a good job, because we might need to produce hundreds of them, you know.
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. I mean, I could try and do one now, but I'd have to sort of sit like this and just do one. You know, whether you could even see me doing it, I don't know.
I'm going to go back onto the stream so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool if we could at some time do a live sketch session.
For sure,
if we set something up with a camera over the shoulder or something like that, and because I mean, on the video actually for the campaign, if you go to the Kickstarter and go to the video after the trailer, there is actually a film of Jimmy doing one of these stream of consciousness sketches, and it's really cool. It's really worth watching. I'd recommend it. I'm going to come off the screen now.
So that's good to get sort of a little view about what the Kickstarter actually involves and what the guys can get when they pledge on there. And obviously with Kickstarter, you don't pay for it now. You pay for it once the pledge is fulfilled. So if you are worried about waiting for payday or anything, they don't take the money now. They will take it once the Kickstarter has ended. So pledge, make it real.
That's correct. Yeah, a lot of people may have that misconception because I've had people say, "Oh, I can't pledge because I don't get paid yet," and it's like, well, you don't pay until the end of the campaign.
No,
so I think it's about another week or so. Yeah, it's over a week. Yeah,
12 days.
Yeah. 9 days left, I think.
Let me have a look. Actually,
12 days left.
12 days left to snag some of these goodies.
Yeah, that soon goes. 12 days, folks.
Yeah, yeah. So we've been talking obviously about what it's going to look like in the real world, and one of the things that kind of grabbed me with this and with helping you sort of create one of the characters and stuff was how we're going to bring that to Comic-Cons, and it'll be really cool to do like sign-ins and live drawings and things there, and sort of meet the fans and whatever, and I can come dressed as the character, which is very exciting.
That is something we're really excited about, is working with you, Samii, to bring this character to life, and so that the character can meet the fans in person at conventions. That's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's even been done before. I mean, I know that obviously people have cosplayed and dressed up as characters before, but the fact that your character conception and the design of the costume, I think, came first.
Yeah.
This actually makes this something a little bit different, to say the least, and a little bit special, because the character that you have created is the one that's being incorporated into the story. I mean, there was a role to be filled, and then you just walk straight into it. You got the part, basically.
I know, and I have no idea how. That was going to be one of my questions. I don't know if I can compliment you in any way. You're going to make an idiot yourself on stream, so I'm not going to ask that. I'll ask you that in person. But yeah, it's very exciting, incredibly good for the ego, and I honestly can't wait to try and bring it into the real world.
Well, I have to say, Samii, we were really impressed with your creativity. When you came up with the costume and what the character was all about, and that the idea you had about the wiring and all that sort of stuff, and all the aspects of it. This is all came from you. Really, we just the
project just gives so much. It's easy to just snap something together because you've given so much to the world, and the art that you've created already. So just fucking really cool to be part of, to be honest. So
yes, cool for us as well, and hopefully cool for the readers. But I mean, I don't want to give too much away in terms of the story, because your character plays a pivotal role in the conclusion of the story of the comic. But what can I say without giving too much away?
Don't give the end away.
No, definitely not. But in the world that we created, the world sort of operates along the lines of medieval fiefdoms. So it's a feudal system. You have the ruling elite, so to speak, but the rest of the world, or the rest of the countries, are sort of warring gangs, basically, and then they're subdivided. And one of the gangs is a girl gang, I guess, a gang of females, and they're called the Mission Bells, and they operate out of an old disused mission on the border of I guess what would have been California and Mexico back in the day. Obviously this is set in the future, and Samii's character, as yet unnamed at the moment, she is called Girl 13, is the de facto.
I quite like that as a name, actually.
I like
Girl
that
13.
as a name, yeah.
That could well be the name. He is the de facto leader of the Mission Bells, who are a notorious, I hesitate to use the word gang, but I can't think of a better way to describe them, because everything is gangs, everything is about, it's tribal, So, and this gang of girls or this group really provide the conclusion, the sort of the climax to the story, as our hero is he rescued? I'm not sure. So we've turned the whole thing on the head. You know, it's not a case of the handsome prince rescuing the damsel in distress. It's very much the other way around. You know, and Sam's character is pivotal in that. You know, I don't really want to say any more than that, but they are called the mission bells.
Right.
And what I'd like to do, if this thing goes well and people like it, is to do an offshoot where we actually do a Mission Bells comic, because I think there's some good stories to be told there. You know,
that would be so cool. So it's basically, I mean, you could have this like group, couldn't you? This like 13 female leads, as you were, all with different personalities, different abilities, different that could be so exciting. You know, from what I can see.
It's exciting.
Yeah, and various levels of augmentation. You know, because Sammy's alluded to, we've mentioned the circuitry under the skin and things. Because in this future world, for reasons that I won't go into now, lots of people are augmented, to use a phrase. You know, for reasons that become clear, that it's not always a matter of choice.
Right, gotcha.
So again, we're blurring the lines between humans and machines, humans and AI technology. So yeah, there's a lot more to it than the calendar suggests. So if people think the calendar itself is the be all and end all of what we're talking about, no, it's not. That really is, you're barely scratching the surface of what's to come, really.
Wow. Oh, I can't wait! I just can't wait to see it all happen. It's so exciting, and it's really interesting to me that you know, I think it plays a lot on what's happening in the world at the moment as well. Is that because so many people are augmented now in one way or another? Maybe not with robotic parts, but you know, the way that they boost their bodies with plastic surgery and how we augment ourselves virtually. This phenomenon of filters on things like Snapchat and TikTok, and you see people, but you're not seeing the actual person at all, are you? And I think that sort of plays into it. And in this world, it's like gone to the next stage almost. Well, it has gone to the next stage.
Actually in the real world, it's taken that next logical step, which, you know, I think may well be the way we're all going. Hopefully in a good way. Who knows? You know?
I've got visions of people like on dating sites, and then they meet up and they're like robotic from the neck down.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, again, I've got a little scene. I can't say too much. We get shut down, but there's an interaction between two people. It is a man and a girl, and he says, "Are you human?" And she lifts. At this point, she's been nothing but human. There's nothing to suggest she's anything but human, but you haven't seen her hands or her arm, and she lifts her hand up and she sort of brushes her hair to one side, and it's obviously not a human hand, and she says, mostly. You know, and it's just a little throwaway line, but there's a lot of stuff in there.
Loaded,
yeah. So some of it's quite dark. It's not a comedy, but hopefully it does have humor.
A bit of dark humor in it.
Yes, that's kind of what I do, isn't it? Let's be honest. You know?
Well, actually, some people watching might not be familiar with what you do, Jimmy.
No, that was the next question.
Take it away, Sammy. Sorry, I'm so used to hosting these shows.
So I was just going to say it'd be interesting to hear from both of you a little bit more about the other projects that you've worked on, and you know, the sort of things that people might know you both for. Because obviously, it's very exciting to be working with two people who have a reputation in the industry already. Good, as far as I know. I don't know who wants to go first, but it'd be lovely to hear a little bit more about the projects you've worked on before and what you've sort of done in the industry so far.
Go, Jimmy. Age before beauty and all that.
I've done a fair bit, I suppose. In addition to this kind of thing, I mean, I've done crowdfunders before. I did a project called Gold Tiger with Guy Adams, which we kickstarted. Which, you know, got a fair bit of attention, which was we build it as the 1960s comic strip that never existed until now. So it was a sort of meta-textual analysis of a comic book strip that never existed, or did it? Oh, look at Odin there, crikey. He gets getting bigger.
He's growing.
So I'm quite well known for that. I also do a lot of stuff for 2000 AD, Rebellion these days. I've got the Hope series running in there. I'm currently working on the revamp of Smash for Rebellion, which revives much loved old 1960s characters, and before, to be honest, 1950s characters, British comics characters, Archie the Robot, Spider, and stuff like that. Prior to that, I had a previous life in Marvel Comics, DC Comics, where I've worked on Batman, Spider-Man,
everything at one time.
All sorts of things. So yeah, I've been working in comics in various guises: penciling, inking, lecturing, colouring for over 30 years. So yeah, I've done it.
Can I just check? The guy that's drawn Batman has also now drawn me.
Yes,
that's true. Yeah, I have drawn Batman. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Oh, nice. Like, yeah, I'm in. I'm sold. Stop talking. I'm in it. Let's do this. Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yes, I mean, I love your Batman, actually, Jimmy. The way you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, your interpretation of him, I really, because that's the thing about Batman, is that every artist has their version of Batman.
Yeah,
of course, it's the beauty of the character, you know. He's a blank canvas almost.
Yeah. And some are more interested in love. I mean, I've got a big fondness for like Kelly Jones's Batman. It's like totally out there, totally crazy.
Totally out there,
yeah. But I really, really like it. And then I also really like, you know, someone like George Fawnes. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Jimmy. He's
no.
Yeah, check out George Fawnes' Batman. Really, really nice.
Is he recent?
Yeah, quite recent. He's a modern artist, but he's got a really nice approach to the character. Sort of a little bit like a David Mazzucchelli sort of approach.
Oh, now you're talking.
Yeah. Sorry, Samii, we're going off in a comics direction.
No, I'm in. So I have a Batman drawn by Gerard Way, which is my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds. Wait till you see this bad boy.
Samii's proving their comics credentials.
With a Batman and a Joker, and I love it. It's very sort of Tim Burton-esque almost, I think. But it's absolutely beautiful. Odin, as you can see, loves it. He doesn't get to see this very often.
He does.
Because I'm terrified he's going to break it. But
he's thinking, can I eat it? I think. You know?
So yeah, I'm a big Batman fan.
Very cool.
I don't always know people's names, but I'm probably familiar with a lot of the artwork. So very cool to hear. Very excited.
So what about you, Shane? You've done a lot as well.
Gosh, yeah. I started publishing comics in 1994. That's showing my age, isn't it? Did my own little anthology. I've always been an independent publisher, whereas Jimmy comes from the realm of professional comics, proper comics. I've always been from the indie world, and I guess we're sort of meeting in the middle now. Because obviously this is
a fair comment. Yeah,
it's an independent. This is an independent comic after all, but professionally produced. You know, and I've always strived for that. So I started doing comics back then. I've always liked doing comics with people. I started off drawing my own, and then I thought, you know what, I really enjoy working with other people. So I did anthologies, and I used to just put them out myself, self-published. And some of the guys that I've worked with have actually gone on and done other stuff. I used to publish an anthology called Dead by Dawn, which was a horror anthology, and it had people in there like PJ Holden, Kieran Gillen was in there. I think John McRae actually did some stuff in there as well. Yeah, we've had some, and you were in there actually, Jimmy. In the first issue
here, you know. I did actually. Yeah,
a nice little four pager, you know. I've got a comment in our stream. Barry Renshaw's just come in and said, don't forget Dreamy Comics. Well, I'm not going to forget Dreamy Comics, but I never actually published those.
Dreamy Comics.
Dreamy
it was
Comics.
Dreamy Comics. It was like an indie imprint where lots of indie guys got together under one imprint. But of course, what happens when you get lots of indie guys together? No one agrees at all on what they're going to do because everybody's very fiercely independent.
In a writer's room,
Yeah.
trying to get a group of maybe 12, 13 artists and writers to agree on one idea was one of the most stressful moments in my life.
I can well believe that. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
imagine
Just
it. Yeah.
You're there, no chance.
No.
Creative people, you know, especially if they've got a vision, it's really. I think they find it very. I know I do sometimes. You know, find it hard to play with others. You know, and it can be quite difficult, and you have to bend if you're working in a team. And I know that, and comics is often teamwork. You know, you've got a penciler, you've got an inker, you've got a writer, and they have their own sort of idea of how they want to put the story across. And if they're working in synergy, you get great comics. You know, but if you've got different people, you know, people who disagree on how they want to do it, it can cause problems. Yeah. And when you're doing an anthology with 28 different creators, it's herding cats. That's all I'm going to say. but Jimmy here, always brilliant to work with. Always turns in.
Oh,
a great
bless
song.
you. No, yeah. I have my moments. Like you've alluded to this. We're all the same. Creative people. You know, we have our moments. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Say no more.
It's a passion project as well, and it's something, you know, you really personally feel about. It's not someone else's thing. It's, you know, it's your own thing. It's your own baby. It's your own world. Of course, it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And someone tries to change it.
Yeah, this whole fully loaded thing is something I've had percolating for years in various guises with different titles, and it, you know, various manifestations. I've even drawn bits of it over the years, and it's never came to fruition. And then for some reason, I had this moment where all of these strands just came together, and I thought, you know what, that could actually work if I combine all these elements. Sometimes it just happens like that, you know. Sometimes you can be like racking your brains and thinking long and hard and sort of beat your head against the wall for months and months and nothing. Sometimes things just seem to fall into place, and it has done with this. And it's one of these things where it's basically writing itself. Yeah. And when that happens, I know it's hopefully going to be okay. If that makes sense. Yeah. Anybody involved in the creative process will know what I'm talking about. You two obviously do. So, yeah.
Have you written stories yourself, Samii? I mean, you're such a creative person. I imagine you must have had a go at coming up with your own stories at some point.
Yeah, so when I was much younger, I used to write a lot of fantasy stories. Before Harry Potter came out, I wrote this wicked fantasy story called Bane of a Legend, which is a very sort of similar thing, like a group of different people meet each other along the way. It was kind of almost Dungeons and Dragons-y. And I took the first draft into school and showed my English teacher, and she said it was really well written, but people don't pay for fantasy, so there's no point in finishing it.
Whoa, she didn't know what she was talking about, did she?
And I kept it for years and years and years. So I obviously, as I'm sure you both know, I grew so attached to those characters and the little worlds and, you know, the relationships and things that I'd built with them. But then at some point moving house, I've just lost it all, which is a shame. I kept my old hard drive. I mean, I must have been like 14. So we're talking like, you know, 16, 17 years ago now. So I kept it for so long, the old hard drive, in the hopes that one day I'd just boot it back up and finish it. And then as technology does, it just died. So I lost all of it. Gave up. That was it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's still up there. You can do it again.
Yeah, a lot of it is still up there. I can still vividly picture how I wanted the characters to look and things. So yeah, it was very cool. And then obviously I got to work on the Daughters of Albion project. So that was how me and Shane met down when I was working in London in the comic book industry, kickstarting a new startup comic book company. For one reason or another that I don't think I can't legally talk about it, but rather than get any grief.
Well, they don't exist anymore, do they?
No.
They went bump, didn't they?
Yeah, so we had a problem with
funnily enough.
We had a problem with the head of the studio, and then when they got replaced, the new person was overselling a lot to the investor without really understanding the project. Because there isn't a lot of money in comic books, especially startup. It's all about the IP and the world that you create, and then he can sell that too. And he was just like, well, let's just smash a load of money on t-shirts. Like, no one's going to buy a t-shirt because we've got like I mean, we did really well. I was very proud. Every Kickstarter that we set up, we smashed within 48 hours. Obviously, there were nothing quite to this size, but I was really proud of what we achieved. And it was so sad because I had people that were cosplaying our characters. We had a robotic bee made. So there was a little robot bee sidekick character, which we commissioned someone to build for us. We had that at Comic-Cons, and it was really just on the cusp of becoming something lovely. But yeah, working in the industry was a big eye opener, and I was very proud of what we accomplished. And I got to help with the story and build some of the characters and stuff from there. And it is such a shame that it ended the way it did. And a lot of people put out our work very quickly, which unfortunately is the way when you've got a big wig investor that all of a sudden decides he wants to put his money somewhere else. So it was a shame, really. But
it was a real shame. And like you say, if you oversell comics to someone, they're going to be very disappointed.
Exactly.
I always say to people, there's not big money in comics, but
especially
you
not
can.
In the first year.
Yeah, you've got to put some work in, and then you can get something back later on. Once you've produced something. But it's a slow, hard process. You see these big. The big ones that do really well, like Walking Dead or something like that. But they are sort of the outliers, if you like. Most comic creators, they work really hard to earn a living from their comics. You have to love it. You have to love it.
And like they insisted on paying for an office in the Shard. Who needs an office in the Shard when you're a startup company? You wonder why we smashed the money in like a year. It was ridiculous. But there was just no rationalizing. Like
that's hilarious.
Great. And that's lovely that you've got the money to do that. But how the hell are we going to make that money back in a year with a £5 comic? They were getting in big artists. We had like Tallulah Lote doing artwork for us and stuff. It was some big names. It was very exciting, but it was a lot of like the people that we had were there because they loved what we created and they loved meeting us at Comic-Con. And even now I still have people messaging me asking if they're going to see me at Comic-Con because he met me through Wild River. We had such a lovely time, and that's why people kept coming back and kept pledging. They didn't care that we had these big names or that one time they turned up and they paid for a Porsche for the weekend, which turned out to be the investor's Porsche. So the investor paid himself to have his own Porsche there. It was ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. And then, so obviously we couldn't make the money back in a year. Obviously,
no, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it is so sad because there was the story itself was great, the characters were great.
It was really going somewhere. I mean, I bought the comic, and it was really good. There was some good stuff, and I felt that if it had just been allowed to grow organically, because like you say, what you were doing and what the other guys were doing was building your audience, and you were getting really faithful fans because it was decent material, and it was growing. But you have to grow it organically. You have to. You're not going to be able to put a load of money in and then get a massive investment back with comics. You've got to put the time in.
Them, like, do you know how hard it is to pitch that we're a startup company that needs your backing when you've got a fucking Porsche? Like, come on, kids. You're not making my job easy. Ridiculous. What are you supposed to do? Please spare us your change. Don't you're not a flash car.
We're down to our last Porsche.
However will we get by. It was obviously very grateful. And I think working in London for a year really kind of opened my eyes to the world in a way that I wasn't expecting. London is a completely different world to what I'm used to.
It's a different planet for sure.
Yeah, I mean, London is an oddity because because you're from Stoke, aren't you, Samii?
I'm from Cheshire, actually. I'm not from Stoke.
Oh, sorry,
Stokies, but I do live in Stoke now. But I purposely bought a house kind of a little bit out of the way, so it's at the end of a little cul-de-sac, just with fields, so that it was safe for the cats to live in. So even though I live in Stoke, I live in quite a quiet area, quite small, quiet little area. So traveling to London and living in London 3 days a week I hated it, to be honest. I hated it. I think it's either in you or it's not to be a Londoner, and it was not in me at all.
Yeah,
That's
I
all.
totally agree. I don't think I could ever live in London or a city, to be honest.
No. No.
I'm a proper country lad myself.
Mm.
I mean, where you are, Jimmy, it's actually it's a little bit rural actually where you live, but you are actually in a town, aren't you?
Yeah, it seems it because we're surrounded by so many trees, but it is not really remotely rural.
No, it's just got trees. Yeah.
It's just, it's a very old house and it overlooks a railway, which has been,
Oh.
yeah. So if you've ever seen the film The Lady Killers, it's a little bit like that, but it's just a massive trees. It's strange, although we're in the middle of sort of Tipton in the West Midlands, if you look out the window, we could be in the middle of anywhere, so it's just wall to wall greenery, so we're very lucky in that respect.
Yeah, it's an oasis of greenery, really, isn't
it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
because everywhere, you go outside of like where you are and it's just like, fast food joints and road, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But where the house is, it's completely surrounded by trees.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
like
really
it's been
nice.
picked up and dropped somewhere else. Very lucky in that respect. Yeah.
So I get we shouldn't really take any more of your time, should we, Samii?
Me?
We've been streaming. We've been streaming now for 46 minutes. Oh my gosh!
Because I have something else to be doing on a Saturday night. Nothing.
Oh, I can't believe
my cat's
that.
not allowed to go. I don't go. So
are you basically a cat lady then? Is that?
I am. That's what I'm aiming for. Yeah. So Odin's one of 6 actually, which is the least I've had for a long time.
6.
6.
Okay,
yeah.
6 is a very good number.
Yeah, it's solid. It's a good treat.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to count out. I mean, officially 3, but I guess it's 6. Yeah.
Yeah, got some strays. Love a stray.
We have garden cats that they sort of live in the garden. They don't come into the house, but we still feed them constantly. So yeah, I think it's 5 or 6 for us as well.
Well, if you want to do a little side comic about all the cats that live in this world, I think we've got.
Oh well, yeah, I've got a number of.
An idea is forming in my head.
I've got a number of cat projects that are in.
What are we wasting time with this
for? Odin and the Viking cats.
Yeah. So I tried to get Wild River to do a little spin-off where Odin and B, the little sidekick, went on an adventure, and it was going to be because of Odin's death as well as having one eye. So it was going to be about the overcoming the struggles. So it's going to be aimed at kids, maybe about learning to communicate in different ways and helping each other find the dragons of London that would grant their wishes and also it was lovely, but no one backed it.
That sounds really good. I really like the sound of that. Yeah,
I storyboarded it and everything, and then we went bust. So I was like, all right, no man.
I'm good. I'm so gutted that Wild River didn't work out. It had such potential.
It's a shame.
If they'd have just run a little bit slower, and just they basically collapsed under their own weight, didn't they?
Yeah, and then rebranded. So that was one of the big fallouts that we had at the end. They decided to completely change the name and logo and everything that we built so far to Immortal London, which fine, but we've just spent a year building it from nothing, and everyone knows the name, so it was crazy. So
rebrands are risky. I mean, rebrands are so risky. Talk to Elon Musk about that, and I mean, it just doesn't. You've really got to get it right. And I think unless you've been going for a long time, I don't think a rebrand is a good idea. And
what's the point after a year?
Yeah, it's less.
I mean,
crazy
rebranding. You've got to ask the question why. I mean, rebranding can be successful and a good idea, but it's why,
Exactly.
I mean, that's your area of expertise, isn't it, Jimmy? I mean, you've worked in branding and you've been an art director and
but I mean, comics was not the first thing I did. I'm way too old for that. No, prior to comics, I was in advertising, design and marketing for many years. Through the 80s, and that was a wild old time. I must admit. Not a very popular profession. No, nobody ever gets impressed when you tell them that's what you did.
I'm impressed.
But that's what I used to do. Before comics.
But it means that the comics that you produce are beautiful looking comics, you know, because they're so well designed and put together.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think really more than anything, I'm a designer, and I drifted into illustration because we needed illustration doing. So I thought, I'll try my hand at that. You know, turned out I guess I could do it a little bit.
Just enough.
Just enough, yeah.
Get by.
Then I got into it, you know. But the design is my first love, really. I think that's my real. Well, no, not my real. Comics is my real passion, I guess. But design, graphic design, industrial design, fashion, and all of that is a huge influence on what I do, and it's what I'm really, really interested in. I think, you know.
And it makes for interesting comics as well. I think.
Yeah,
You've got
it's
all
beautiful artwork.
Oh, thank you.
So we've had a bunch of more people join the chat. So just to sort of quickly recap, at the top of my chat, you'll see a link for a Kickstarter. So the latest project is the Adult Human Female comic book world, shall we say, Kickstarter project that Jimmy and Sean have launched and very kindly asked me to be a part of and create a character for, which is incredibly exciting. And if you back the Kickstarter whilst we are live, so if you back it tonight as one of our watchers, you get a very special limited signed print. So it's very worthwhile clicking the link in my chat, and it's also on, you guys on YouTube? What are you on?
We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook.
We're on YouTube,
and we're on Twitch as well. I think, on the Icecast Live Twitch channel as well. So there you go.
So if you click the link in any of these sort of areas tonight, whilst we are streaming and chatting, you get bonus goodies, which is what Kickstarters are all about, really. Opportunity for exclusive merchandise. Very, very exciting. I have been asked to ask you both, though, if there are any other projects that you're working on that you're excited to talk about.
Oh, well.
You're always working on a million things.
Well,
yeah. Shall I start this time?
So I know you are, Shane. I must admit, at the moment, this is keeping my hands full. But Shane, I know you're working on lots of different things.
Yes, I am working on. Well, last year I published this, which is Dracula, The Return, with Dacre Stoker, the great grandnephew of Bram Stoker, and just yesterday actually launched a Zoop campaign for issue 2. And you can also get issue 1 as well. So if you're new to Dracula, The Return, then yeah, there you go. You can get onto that. Beautiful cover by Mike Collins. This cover was by Ben Stenbeck of Hellboy fame. That's one of the projects I'm working on. I'm working on lots of stuff that I can't talk about, actually, unfortunately. But I am working. I can say that I am working with a writer called Peter Hogan on a project. Now, people may know Peter's work through Resident Alien, which was a Sci-Fi Channel show. I don't know if you remember that one, Sammy. Well, I say remember.
Lots of people talk about it. I didn't.
Yeah, excellent show, actually.
Yeah.
I bought. Yeah. It was originally a comic created by Peter and Steve Parkhouse, a great artist. And then it was obviously optioned for a TV series, and they did great things with it. Really, really cool series. Basically, the concept is an alien lands on the planet, disguises himself as a human. He wants to sort of get back to wherever he came from, but becomes embroiled in the intricacies of human life, starts to fall in love with being a human. And it's that old man who fell to earth concept, really. A human becoming an alien, becoming a human. But it's great. It's full of really dark comedy. And yeah, it's a little bit violent at times as well, but not too much. It's pretty much I wouldn't say all ages, but it's almost a family show. But yeah, really good stuff. I highly recommend it. So I'm working with Peter, the co-creator, on an anthology, a horror anthology project, which I'll be announcing early next year. I'm also working with Chris McCauley, who's the co-writer of Dracula, on a brand new project. Now, I haven't mentioned this anywhere, so this is a first time. It's an exclusive, yeah, and there's no visuals released from this yet. All I'll say is the title, and it is Dinosaurs versus Cowboys. Now, obviously, that conjures up a lot of images, inspired by old dinosaur movies and cowboy movies of the
Yeah.
60s and 50s. The first movie I ever watched as a kid was Valley of Gwangi. Now, maybe the guys watching this might not be aware of that film. It's a really old film, and it had such an impact on me. It was basically cowboys versus dinosaurs. You know, this movie.
Nice.
And I wanted to, and I said to Chris, you know, I'd love to do a comic like that, you know, with cowboys and dinosaurs. Can we do something like that? And he said, and Chris, he's like, oh yeah, Chris can write anything.
Get out, easy.
Yes. So we've got a story by an artist called Owen Coveney, who is a great artist, has worked for 2000 AD, and also the legendary John McCrae has done a cover for us and a backup story. And people might know John McCrae from Hitman.
I was
He's
going to
also
say, is that the Hitman, John McCrae?
That's the man. Yeah. It's been I've always wanted to work with John on something, and it's only a little strip, but he's done an absolutely amazing job on it. And this is all brand new stuff. No one, well, they know about it now.
Yeah.
But I'll be doing a full announcement. I will be doing a full announcement about it at a later time. But as you know, you so politely asked, I thought I'd let you know.
Very, very sweet of them to ask. That was Phil, who joins a lot of my streams. So thank you, Phil, for asking that.
Thanks, Phil.
And then I was going to ask you both, actually, what sort of genre you think adult human female fits into? Like, what kind of audience do you think will gravitate towards this comic and calendar and colouring book and everything else?
Colouring book. Well, anybody who likes colouring. And I should, before I fully answer that question, I should say that there's also an option on the Kickstarter for digital coloring, so you can get fully downloadable black and white files from Jimmy, and then you can digitally color them yourself, which is something quite unique. I think I've never seen that before on a Kickstarter. No. And you know what? We'll probably be quite happy to. If you send them to us, you know, give you a little bit of a critique and
you could do like a writer's thing in the back of the comic where people can submit their stuff and you can print it in the comic. Do you remember that back in the day when you used to do
fan
that?
art? Yeah, I'm quite happy to post fan art, or if someone colours their own stuff, you know, that we've provided from the Kickstarter, we'll post it on the Facebook and things like that. Because we've got obviously the fully loaded Facebook group, which I urge everyone to join. But yeah, to answer your question, like you missed it, Jimmy. But
sorry, I was
the question asked was, what genre do we think adult human female or fully loaded is? I mean, for me, it's a bit of a mixture, really. It's a thriller. It's science fiction. It's quite erotic at times, but it mixes all of those things together in quite an original pot, really, I'd say. What was your take?
I mean, I don't think you could put one label on it, and everything you've just said, it definitely sort of dips into it's obviously set in the future, so therefore it's science fiction, I guess. I would call it cyber noir.
Ooh,
I like that. That works.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. In fact, that's what I want my character to be called.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Take on Bet Noir there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cyber Noir. I like that. That's
noir, yeah.
You've coined that, Jimmy. You've coined that now.
Copyright.
Yeah. Copyright that right now.
Copyright.
Yeah.
T-shirts will be available.
Yeah, so there you go. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think it's good to know what sort of audiences you're trying to attract, what kind of audiences you're trying to pull in with the project. It's such a, like you say, even though it's got that kind of what initially looks like a black and white adult human female title, it's so there's so many layers to that we could delve into. So I think it's good to know what they'll be getting, what the readers, colorers, date checkers will be getting with the project.
I think anyone who enjoys, and if you enjoy something like you know, like even the manga stuff, you know, like Ghost in the Shell, for example. If you enjoy Ghost in the Shell, you'll probably enjoy this.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, there are elements.
But you know, off the top of my head, you know, so anybody that enjoys you know, Blade Runner or Sin City or Frank Miller's Hard Boiled with
Oh, Jeff Darrow.
Jeff Darrow. American Chaikin's American flag. There's
always have hard boiled.
Nice.
Hard boiled. Yeah. Wow. What a great comic.
It is. If no one has ever read Hard Boiled by Frank Miller and Jeff Darrow, I cannot recommend it enough. It's absolutely superb.
Yeah, it's astonishing. It really is. And there's a bit of Ronin in this as well. So I guess it all stems from that. Dystopian is such a sort of catch-all term, but it is kind of just, it is dystopian, I guess. It's near future, not far future, so it's not flying cars. Although actually, it's not flying cars, but the cars do fly. So I've just contradicted myself. But they're not plot points; they just fly.
Yeah. It's not like Nick Fury's flying car, then.
No.
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think what I'm attracted to is the whole idea that so many of the themes of this relate to modern day, to the modern day.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like real world problems that we're facing now, but kind of painted in a way that's slightly easier to digest sometimes as a reader.
Yeah, definitely. And no creative work is created in a vacuum. Obviously, everything that surrounds us informs everything we do, indirectly or directly. And obviously, a lot of the themes and the elements of this story are directly, I guess, relevant, and as a consequence of what's going on right now. Not that it's not overtly political. It doesn't take a side. It's not very right wing. It's not left wing. It's quite neutral as in its themes, but people can then make their own minds up, which I think the best fiction always does that. You don't want to preach to everybody.
No.
I think there's enough of that about at the moment, to be honest.
I think there's more than enough of that. But it definitely touches on pertinent themes for sure that affect all of us right now on a daily basis, definitely. But hopefully in a very entertaining way. It's not. Yeah. It's not that serious. It is serious because they're serious themes, but hopefully it's entertaining. It's not preaching.
I think that's the important thing. I think some writers in fiction, in different art forms, at the moment they're so engrossed in getting their own personal message across. They don't actually. The entertainment isn't paramount, and I think that's missing in a lot of
the audience then as well. I think.
I see this as an entertainment, to use a phrase. If people want to draw wider themes from it, or parallels politically or philosophically that may or may not align with their own, that's up to them. But I think the best work, best art, best music, best everything sort of sits there and lets everybody else decide what they think about it. Anything else is propaganda, and I'm not interested in propaganda. Despite what everybody
Oh man, Samii, thank you so much. By the way,
honestly, it's been a pleasure. It's been so nice finding out a little bit more about the world that you're creating, and especially the character that I get to hopefully play in real life. It's very exciting.
For sure,
I love it. I love her already.
You embody her, and I think the great thing is, having a real person, create a character in this way, it just gives you such scope then to really give that character a little bit more depth, because you can take characteristics from you and put them into that character.
Good luck. What personality do you want? I've got about 6. Maybe that can be her thing. Every now and again, a wiring messes up and you get a different version.
Well, I like that idea.
I like that.
Multiple personalities stored in a cybernetic brain. That's an interesting idea, actually. So you're doing it for it. She's writing it for us, Jimmy. You know,
Yeah,
You know, like follow me around for a week, or like a Truman Show type thing. Just watch how I interact with different people.
And cats, of course.
And cat, yeah. I'm a different human when it comes to animals. I've got a lot more time for animals than any human. So.
Oh yeah, I think animals
Amen, yeah.
Animals are at the end of the day, animals are innocent, aren't they? I always think of them like that.
Exactly.
You know, even the most ferocious predator is still an innocent. You know, it's
because you're probably messing about in its house. I have this argument all the time with so many people. Like, what if a bear was mauling you? Like, why am I messing about in a bear's house for a start? I'm planning in his forest, in his woodland, and he decides he doesn't want me there and wants to eat my face. That's on me. I should have stayed home.
Exactly. Although I never thought of you as Goldilocks, you know.
No. I don't want to eat the food. I just want to squeeze their little cheeks and kiss their little noses, and that's how I die. An animal I shouldn't be cuddling.
They do look cute, don't they, bears? You see them like in their habitat, you know, and they do look so adorable.
Yeah,
and then you think, that would just eat your face. Yeah, definitely.
And you know what? Maybe that's the way I go, and I'm all right with it.
Eaten by bears,
you know.
I don't know. Have you seen The Revenant?
Yeah, I mean, every time I have this conversation, people are like, "You don't understand what a bear's going to do to you," and I'm like, "I do," and that's why I'm not messing around in his house, because I will try and kiss his face, and I will die. So.
Oh dear. Well, thanks for that, Samii. That's really.
I don't know how that was in the story, but I hope it's of use. Character building.
Oh, definitely. It's all, you're making notes, Jimmy. Yeah, this is all important stuff.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I now have a whole new aspect to the character of the Mission Bells, is that they rescue animals that need rescuing.
I'm in.
I'm
in again.
Yeah,
I think they should have a pet bear. That would be cool.
Why the hell not?
On a chain, you know.
Not on a chain.
One eye.
It's one eye, yeah.
One-eyed bear. I see a theme here.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, thank you so much, Samii, for
Pleasure.
You know, for hosting this tonight for us.
Thank you.
It's been really good. It's been such fun.
Effort, I'd say everyone's mucked in. I'm very happy, very proud of the team already.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, and thanks to your Twitch viewers as well for joining us.
Bless them on a Saturday, messing about here.
I know they could be doing something so much more exciting, couldn't they? Like going out.
Says a lot about us nerds, doesn't it? What are you doing on Saturday? We talk comic books on the internet.
Yeah, yeah. Going to be doing a live stream for about an hour. I've actually live streamed for 3 nights in a row now, because I do my Icecast live show, which was a total washout this week because I had 3 guests lined up and they all let me down last minute. So that was fun. Yeah, all 3 of them let me down, and so it was sort of me and Sam, my co-host, just chatting for a while until we got bored. And then last night I did a live stream to launch the new Dracula book, which was fun. Actually, I had the 2 artists on there, Chris Geary and Matthew Soph. That was actually a really nice chat. And then, of course, this evening as well, I'm just streaming every night. I'm tired. It's where I don't know how these YouTubers do it. You know, these guys.
No, I was trying to say to someone the other day about Twitch, and it's basically another job, and you're like, would you just go online and talk? And I was like, yeah, but it's a lot to be, you know, like a character again for another portion, you know, of the day, and engaging and everything. So it's good fun, but it does take it out of you. So well done.
Well, you're using your brain all the time, aren't you? You're always like, you're on the go. You know, you're constantly, like you say, you're almost creating a character, or to an extent. Although I do try and just be myself. I think that's always, you know,
that helps.
You know, I think a lot of people go on these things and just project something. And I think, it's nice just to be you. You know, anyone who knows me knows that, like,
exactly.
the person on here, it's me. You know, it's not. I'm not like really being false. Because I always think it's a bit odd when people do that, like project a false character. You know, to a certain extent. You know,
I'll have like a fake voice and things.
Yeah, I know people who do that. Definitely, it's like you remember telephone voices back in the old day when your mum would have a telephone voice, like when they pick up the phone, hello. You know, it's like that. That doesn't exist anymore. But I think there's definitely like people have their streaming voice, don't they?
For sure.
I know people who still do that. You know, they have a telephone
on the phone.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
If you ever have to answer the phone, it's even weirder now.
Yeah, you got to think about it. I always used to laugh at my mum's telephone. My mum's still with us, so she might even be watching this, going, "Shane, how dare you tell people about my telephone voice?" But she used to do it. You know, she'd answer for the phone. It would be like a totally different voice. You know, really well spoken and posh. You know? Really,
until she realizes who it is.
Yeah. Until she realizes it's like Margaret from up the road. You know, she just goes, "Oh, all right, Mark." You know.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of comments actually. Craig Mitchell enjoyed last night's chat and this one. Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, Craig.
Because it's authentic.
Yeah.
That's what we're telling everyone. Tony Blake says hi all. Now, Tony did one of the covers for the new Dracula book. It's a really nice painting. It's a digital painting and it's a close-up of Dracula's teeth.
I saw that. That was fantastic. Jeez, Hi, Tony. Amazing artist, man. I tell you, that was incredible.
Yeah. So I'll post a bigger, because it's quite small on the Zoot campaign.
Yeah, I thought that was stunning. You know.
Yeah, it's a great piece of artwork. I'll post it on the Dracula Returns Facebook group later on. So there's another group for you to join, folks.
Well, the fully loaded one first. Join the fully loaded one first.
That of course is the most important one to join.
We'll do one for Dracula, and I'll pretend to know what I'm on about there as well. We'll be fine.
I'm sure you know all about Dracula.
I know a little bit.
I've learned a lot actually since doing the comic, because
I'm working with his great grandson. Was it? Was it great grandson?
Great grandnephew, yeah, absolutely. He's a scholar. He's a Dracula and Bram Stoker scholar. So if it does, you know, if he doesn't know it, it's not worth knowing. Yeah. And he's compiled all these notes of Bram Stoker's to write this comic. You know, so a lot of the elements, some of them are just created, you know, by him and Chris, but a lot of the elements are from Bram Stoker's notes that were never included in the original novel, which is just fascinating. And there's whole characters that were never in the novel, you know, and everyone's so familiar with that Dracula story, you know, whether it's through the movie or they've read the book, you know, but there's so much there that was never released, and we're trying to bring some of that back in through this series. One more comment, if you'll indulge me. Neil Patel. Now, Neil, you know Neil, don't you, Jimmy?
Oh, I do. I know Neil well. Lovely chap.
Nice to meet you, Sammy, he says.
Oh, nice to meet you too, kind of. I'll watch the YouTube after and meet you virtually there.
We're all meeting virtually.
So no, it's like being in COVID all over again.
Oh, God. Never want that back again.
Flashback.
Oh, dear. I mean, everyone was streaming then, weren't they?
Yeah, I love a good group chat then.
Oh, it's the only way you could have any contact with anyone. It was never again, please. Yeah. Let's fingers crossed on that one. Although it was very good for the comic industry for a little while. I don't know if you're aware of this, Sammy, but when COVID happened,
gaming boomed.
Yeah, yes, it did. Some industries did boom during COVID. There was such a demand for entertainment because people just sitting at home with nothing to do, you know. Unfortunately, you also couldn't make movies or TV shows.
No, nothing new.
Nothing new. So lots of reruns.
No shortage of them. Let's be honest. You know?
Well, it's true. It's true. Right, guys. Well, I am going to have to skedaddle now because I need to eat.
Well, okay.
But thank you so much, Sammy, for tonight, and obviously thanks, Jimmy, as well.
Yeah, thank
No,
you.
thank
you for
you
bringing me
both.
into your world.
Oh, you've been an absolutely great host, and thanks to all your viewers. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your character develop.
Me too.
And to
I can't
bringing
wait.
you
I'm
along.
very excited. There's
Yeah.
such good stuff to come. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. See you soon.
Yeah, go. Enjoy your evening. Thank you so much again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Samii.
Cheers.
Bye.